Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Good show today, as always, because we have Coach Spurrier back. He's been away for a couple of weeks with the Heisman and the College Football Hall of Fame, things I didn't have to worry about. But we'll have him on today. And, of course, Robbie Andrew will join us for Yes, No, Where, Maybe. Also, Thursday, Drew Copeland will join us. Look forward to that. We'll do our big picks. We got 11 games to pick, so we'll try to do it in entertaining fashion. Is that possible? I don't know, but we'll do it. We'll do it as entertaining as we can. I'm going to tell him he's got to be funny and maybe bring his guitar, or maybe not. Anyway, so we got that going. And Thursday's a big day, too, because that's the day that my daughter, Jennifer, my oldest daughter, comes to Gainesville for the holidays. And I can't wait to see her. Of course, Kelsey, we're gonna have a great holiday. No show Monday, obviously. We're not going to do that on Christmas Day. I wouldn't do that to Zach, mostly. But we're not going to have a show Monday. We'll be back on Thursday with a new guest. I don't know who it's going to be yet. I've not really made the effort, to be honest with you. There's a lot going on. I got to buy Christmas presents still. I still got 2 to get. I did want to mention, too, because I didn't have this listed on any of my things. The death of Eric Montrose today was announced. And normally I wouldn't even bring it up. He was a really good college basketball player, but he spent a lot of time in our area. He was really good friends with Tim Tucker, who was our outdoor writer at the Gainesville Sun. And they would come down here and fish all over the place, and he would write stories about him and fishing with him. So he really liked this area a lot. So when I saw that, it hurt. He had cancer, only 52 years old. Really sad. So I did want to bring that up. And then I'm off to 3 more Christmas. I'm doing the 4 Christmases this year. We're doing one. We did one in Daytona. One we're going to do in St. Augustine. One we're going to do in 2 we're going to do in Gainesville. So 4 Christmases. If you ever saw the movie 4 Christmases, it's in my top 6 of Christmas movies. So watch it. It's funny. The scene with Robert Duvall, and they're trying to give him a satellite dish, is classic. All right. I'm not even going to list my favorite movie. You know what my favorite is. It's a Wonderful Life still. Elf is second. Elf is almost ready to top It's a Wonderful Life, because if I've got a choice of the 2, I'm not sure I don't watch Elf, because Elf is going to make me laugh. I promise you. It's making me laugh right now just thinking about lines about it. You know, like you smell. What is this? You smell like cheese and beef or something. When he sits down next to Santa, and the Santa is the guy that was on Howard Stern for a while. I can't remember the name now. Oh, now it's freaking me out. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. Anyway. Hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. We'll have another show Thursday before Christmas, so that's when I'll really give you my Christmas wishes. Let's get to the Process Service of Gainesville Starting 5, brought to you by Process Service of Gainesville, Scott Hart, and the great work he does over there. We appreciate him for being a major sponsor here, and we love all of our sponsors, believe me. Let's get to number 1 on the Process Service of Gainesville Starting 5. And that is what's going on in the portal. It is crazy. It's going wild and everything. But Florida Dig has already picked up. Now, this is today when we're taping this, 3 people from the portal. Whether they're any good or not, I can't tell you. I think people think when they see people get in the portal, oh, if we can get him. No, it's who fits into your system and whether they want to come and whether it's an NIL deal or whether it's like, it's hard to attract portal players to a 5-7 team. It really is. You would think it would be easy because you could say, hey, come to Gainesville, live in the state of Florida. We'll give you, we'll hook you up with an NIL deal, and we're going to play the hardest schedule in the country next year, and you probably will go 5-7 again. Now, I'm not saying they're going to go 5-7 again next year. I'm just saying that is a factor. And there are a lot of factors that come into the whole deal of getting portal people. It's not just, hey, it's the Gators. Why wouldn't you want to come play for the Gators? It's a different world, man. It's a different world we're living in. But they did get 3 players that seem like they have targeted in the right way. Brandon Crenshaw Dickinson, who was a starter offensive lineman from San Diego State, seems like it's a good get, not a flashy get, but that's where they need the most help. They also need help on the defensive line. They got a kid named Joey Slackman from Penn. Is he any good? His stats were good. In the Ivy League, I don't know. We'll wait and see. They got a cornerback. This is going to be a fun name to pronounce. I'm going to go with my first instinct, which is phonetically to pronounce it. Trickweezy. Or it could be Trickweezy. Or Trickweezy. I don't know. Bridges, cornerback from Oregon, who was a pretty good player and then didn't play a whole lot last year, had some injuries. So we'll see. But we also have players from Florida that have left, and they're landing in different places. And most of them, to be honest with you, it's no big deal. The one that has set some people off is Princely. I never can say the name right. Amana Lehman. Am I close? Amana Lehman? Princely. We just always call him Princely. Like we always call him Kingsley. But Princely, who, as you recall, had when he announced he was going to get in the portal, said Gator for life at the end of it. And on our radio show, which we aren't doing for the next 2 weeks, by the way, in case you were wondering, we're taking some time off. But on our radio show, Jeff Cardozo went nuts. I think he wanted to literally physically assault him, but he wouldn't have done that. But because you can't say Gator for life and how much you love the coaches and then go somewhere else. Well, then he goes to Ole Miss, who Florida plays this year. So now people are going, yeah, thank you, Gator for life, except for that day and every other day of your life. You're not. But I told Jeff this, and I tell everybody this. Don't forget the world we're living in now. The world we're living in now involves agents and advisors. You think Urban Meyer talked about fourth cousins, third cousins? It's more now. Who knows who writes those kind of things? So it's whatever. They needed a rush in. They gave him more money than Florida was probably willing to give him. Good for you, Ole Miss. We'll see whether he even plays in that game. He could be hurt by then. He could be not playing. He may not be playing well. I don't know. I think he's an average defensive end, but he was a big get for them because their defense has not been very good. We'll see what happens there. Just don't worry about it. Florida now has, right now, 8 linemen, offensive and defensive linemen committed. We'll see how it holds up. But 8, and they're going to keep going for that. That is the key. They've got to get better on the lines of scrimmage. We all know that. By the way, one of the guys who transferred just cracks me up. Kamari Wilson transferred to Arizona State, which has become the new home for wayward boys. That's where Gator players and other players go when they can't cut it where they are, and they go there because they know how bad they are. And, I'm not going to say anything else. Kamari Wilson was the guy that Florida was putting up as a poster boy about NIL. We've taken care of it. Here's what we've done for him. We've gotten him into real estate. We've done this. And then he found out. This is the story I heard, and he kind of denies it, but I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. It's just a podcast, right? That Kamari Wilson found out somebody was making more money than him and said, whoa, I'm not playing if I'm not getting more money, and eventually was just totally off the team. So didn't dress out for a lot of games. No big loss. But again, 5-star guy. So it's not just about whether you get 5-star guys. Now you get a 5-star guy that's going to be playing at Arizona State. It is what it is. It is frustrating. I will tell you that. The whole thing, the whole concept. It hasn't driven me away from the sport yet. And it probably won't, because I love it too much and I care about it too much. And I like doing this podcast, and I like doing radio, and I like writing about college football. Man, it is getting harder and harder. Let's get to number 2, which is that Wednesday is a huge day for Billy Napier. Now, we've already seen some flips. There's probably going to be some more. Again, you got a 5-7 team, and other teams are coming in with more NIL money, and other teams are negatively recruiting against Florida because the fans at Florida tend to be vocal and tend to say things. Think about this. When Princely in I think it was the Oklahoma game, might have been the Oregon State game. Anyway, might have been Oregon State. But there was a play where he just gave up. He didn't even try. Young kid, doesn't even try. And Gator fans lit him up on Twitter and all the social media sites. And then when he had a chance to get in the transfer portal, had a good year, got in it. Guys, be careful what you're saying, okay? There's nothing wrong with just being totally supportive of your program if you want it to be successful. However, I also understand your grief. I also understand how you feel. But Wednesday is a big day for Billy. He needs to bring it in, in a good place. I'm not saying he's got to flip a bunch of guys, and you never know for sure. We'll have Coach Spurrier on. I'll ask him about signing day, because I know a lot of guys flipped on him. Not even flip, but they were down to 2 teams. But I've talked to a lot of coaches in my time at Florida, and a lot of times what happens is a guy will say, "I'm coming here." Could be Florida, could be Florida State, could be Tennessee. I've decided I'm coming here. He goes, "Well, wait until signing day to tell anybody, because then it's going to look like we flipped you." So a lot of that happens. I don't worry about it. Here's my thing. Florida's got to get better. I think they're going to be better. They're going to have a better roster than they've had for a while. But they've got to win some games. That's all. It's very simple. It's not a complicated math equation. And I'm going to get to one in just a minute. Let's get to number 3, which is, as usual, this time of year with recruiting and signing day and bowls and everything else, basketball tends to get overlooked. But I've been watching a lot of basketball because, to be honest with you, I like basketball, and I don't really. I watch a lot of NFL, but there hasn't been much going on in college in the last couple of weeks. I didn't watch many of the bowl games, and what I saw was I saw Florida win again, and that's good. That was a win that they had to win in an ugly way. It was not pretty. They could have lost it. They shouldn't have. They're better than that team, East Carolina. But Tyrese Samuel with the big dunk rebound. But then I watched some other games. I watched Purdue, Arizona. I watched Kentucky, North Carolina. All I could do was go, oh, Florida can't beat Kentucky. Kentucky's got starting 4 freshmen, and they're all better than anybody at Florida. We'll see, though. That's college basketball, man. It is one reason I love the sport. Auburn beat USC the other day. And that was a big deal. Obviously, Purdue winning that game against Arizona, number 1 Arizona, was a big deal. But they really don't matter. That's the reason we don't, not me, I pay attention, but the majority of Americans don't pay attention to college basketball in November and December, and even in January, and even into February, when the playoffs are going on for football, is because they just want to bet on March Madness is all they really care about. And they also know best teams don't always win, so why worry about one game to another? But I tell you what, Kentucky and North Carolina were playing a game I haven't seen this year from anybody playing Florida or Florida. And maybe it was just one of those days where they played really good. So anyway, that was basketball. Let's get to number 4, which is Chip Kelly after their big win in the LA Bowl, hosted by Gronkowski. Stupidest thing. Was talking in his press conference about how we need to have a commissioner for college football. We need to go to 64 teams, and the haves and then the have-nots will be the other division. And yes, we all agree with that. This is something Harbaugh said a while back. This is something a lot of people have talked about and said. This is but of course everybody's freaking out that Chip Kelly said it, and I like that Chip Kelly said it. He's right, but how do you do that? Nobody has that answer. What is the answer to we need to have a conference commissioner? How do you do that? College football commissioner. How do you do that? I don't know. The NCAA, we don't even know what their power is anymore. They're not going to do it. The Congress is. Nobody like that's going to get involved. How do we get to a 64? Are we going to shift everything and get to a 64-team elite league like the Premier League? Start relegating teams? I don't know. You've got to have all the presidents on board. That's in the end. That's what the NCAA is. It's a league of presidents, right? Now the presidents don't have much impact in terms of what their concerns are, but they do make the decisions eventually. So I don't know that there's an answer, and that's the thing that bothers me the most about college football right now. We all know it's not going the way we want it to go. But what is the answer? And nobody has that answer. I spent time with a lot of people that are big football fans over the last couple of weeks. And everybody's got an answer. And I can always shoot down that answer. That's the problem. I can always say, well, you can't do that because of this. Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't know where we're going. I don't know where we're going to be. But hopefully we'll be in a good place. Let's get to number 5 on our process service of Gainesville starting 5, which is that we were wondering, because I got this question a lot over the weekend from my wife, among others. Hey, Georgia and FSU both got screwed, and I don't disagree. I think Georgia got screwed as much as FSU. I mean, Georgia lost one game by 3 points all season. I can make an argument for them to be in the playoff. But, okay, they got screwed. They're playing in the Orange Bowl. Nobody wants to be there, right? Where are the opt-outs? Well, I finally looked it up to see who's opted out, and a lot of them have happened lately. Trey Benson opted out yesterday, the running back, who's really good. He's came from Oregon and was really good for them. For FSU, they've got 14 guys in the portal. Now, those 14 guys that are in the portal, there's not one that I go, oh, no. It's just guys that just weren't playing a whole lot. But they have had 3 opt-outs. Georgia's got 16 guys in the portal. And again, if you sign with Georgia and you don't play, you're not going to stay. Because you signed with them because you said, I'm an elite player. I'm not playing. Let me go somewhere else and be less elite. But we're seeing all this stuff happen. Look, it is impossible to know what is going on with college football next year because there's so many guys in the portal and there's so many quarterbacks in the portal. USC, their backup quarterback, or would have been their starter probably, Malachi Nelson, just got in the portal. And he's going to go somewhere. I saw where Michael Tarquin just got in the portal again. He just went to USC. He could have really helped Florida this year. I'm not blaming him, but he went to USC. He was one of those guys that didn't really appreciate having to go to class. That's all I'll say about that. But and now he's in the portal again. He's getting an offer from Texas A&M. I go, so you mean he might get back to the Swamp and play against the Gators again? Come on, it's like that scene in Scanners where the brains all explode. That's the way I feel right now. Kyle McCord's going to Syracuse. So really, Kyle McCord, you were the starting quarterback at Ohio State, and you decided you didn't want to stay there, and you're going to Syracuse. I shan't see you again. I will say that. I don't watch a lot of Syracuse games. Anyway, that is our process service starting five. And I know I went off on a lot of rants there, but the great thing is now I get to bring in the all-time ranter, Steve Spurrier, to join us. And we will be back with him and more of another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Process Service of Gainesville offers a rapid turnaround on affidavits of service for Gator lawyers locally and nationwide. Our friend Scott Hart offers immediate responses on status requests and is a member of NAPS and FAPS. And he has been a part of the community for almost 2 decades. Need service? Call Process Service of Gainesville at 407-697-9592 or email shartgators, that's G8TR, at yahoo.com. And make sure you ask about the paralegal legal secretary bonus program.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
I was driving behind a lady, and very suddenly she moved out of the way. There was a log laying in the road, and when I hit my brakes, I went on top of the log. I had 280 discs. I just haven't been the same since. Jeffrey Meldon fought for me all the way. Him and his team really went there for me. Throughout the whole lawsuit, he made sure that my bills was paid. It was never no whenever I called him and asked him for something.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Okay, and welcome back to another duly noted podcast brought to you by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And Meldon Law also brings you Coach Spurrier. Now, we haven't had him for the last couple of weeks because he's been busy. You were at the Heisman, you were at the Hall of Fame dinner and everything.
That's right.
How was that? Was that fun?
Yeah, Monday night, College Football Hall of Fame, Tim Tebow was inducted, and Coach Urban Meyer and Coach Dan Mullen were there also.
Wow.
So anyway, it was a very nice function, and Tebow got a chance to say a few words, and he's an excellent speaker, as we know, and emphasized, trying to help other people. Which, he's very good at that. And then the Heisman that weekend.
Yeah, saw you on TV.
Yeah, I think Jaden Daniels was the favorite, and of course he won it, but got a chance to meet those other guys. Ladd McConkey was there, Georgia wide receiver, a really class young man.
Yep.
And then, of course, Bo Nix and his dad was there, Patrick Nix.
Yeah,
of course,
boy.
We reminisced.
Frankie Sanders, did he talk about that at all?
I told him I can still see that 4th and 7 when you threw the ball, and Kevin Carter, it went right by his hand.
Yeah.
And then they went on down and scored and beat us 36-33 in the swamp. And, Auburn actually – we lost 2 games in that 4-year period in SEC play. And it was both to Auburn, and I think Patrick Nix played in both of them.
Yeah, I know. It was amazing.
Yeah.
That's one thing that happened this weekend that I was watching, and I don't know how you feel about it, but the wheel play, every time somebody would run it, it would be a big play. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, why don't people run it more? But it brought me back to what you once said to your son, in that he gave you this play that they ran at Oklahoma, and it was that tight end falls down, then he drags across the middle, and he said, it always works. It works every time. And he said, why don't you run it every play then?
Yeah.
But that wheel route, we saw it in that Georgia game with Mullen, and we don't see it much anymore.
I tell you what, I saw a play yesterday, and I said, dang, that makes sense. And it was the Ravens against the Jags last night, Sunday night NFL football. And the offense coordinator for the Ravens is the guy that was at Georgia 2 years ago. I think Todd Monken's his name.
Yeah.
And they run the seam route. Instead of everybody just running down there, one here and one there, they took this guy and ran him to the post. And the inside guy, he ran a little inside wheelie, and the other guy's out there. So they hit the same area of the field, but they got there a little different way, which made sense. And, of course, they threw it for a touchdown. And one of the plays that beat the Jags last night. Jags didn't play very well. I think they're still a good team, and their offense just didn't keep up last night.
No, wasn't very good. NFL was crazy yesterday. It was fun to watch, though. A lot of crazy games. We'll get to our Campus USA play of the game, but I know you don't like to reveal your Heisman vote. I'm wondering if you're going to reveal it.
I don't want to reveal it. The other guys get mad at me.
Yeah.
But
well, I'll tell you.
I voted for a quarterback. Let's put it that way. And but it was he won by a whole bunch of votes. Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
And I put third was Jordan Travis. I said, look, the committee told us he's the most important player in football because they kept a 13-0 conference champion out because he was hurt. So
yeah, it was just an unfortunate thing that happened. And how about Georgia? They're the first number 1 team in the country that with one loss all year.
A 3-point loss.
Yeah, 3-point loss to a team that got in. Alabama did get in. So that was unusual also. Whereas last year, TCU actually lost their conference championship game, still got in.
Got in, yeah.
So, I mean, it was just one of those years. There was 4 or 5 undefeated teams, and then, of course, Texas and Alabama.
Well, that's the problem. I think there were 6 teams that deserved to get in this year. Yeah. But you can only take 4, so you won't have a problem. Do you think that when we go to 12 next year that there's going to be 13, 14 angst and everybody's going to be freaking out about this team didn't get in? I mean, we know that the way the March Madness is structured, they do a whole show on the teams that didn't get in, and that's 68.
Yeah.
So I just don't know. I hope that it's going to that'll calm down a little bit.
Yeah, I always thought 8 would be the right number, and you can, 8-4-2, only 3 weeks of it. But right now, I think some schools could actually end up playing 16 or 17 games.
Yeah.
12 regular
17
season,
is the most you can play.
conference champ, and 4. Yeah, 17 would be a possibility. And I can remember back when we were playing 10 games, and everybody said, "Ooh, playing 11 football games is a lot." And then we went to 12, and they said, "That's a lot." But it is, I tell you what, you watch those NFL, they got guys getting hurt all the time. It's
unbelievable,
injuries I don't know what football can do to resolve that problem. But
play fewer games would be one, and that's not going to happen because they want more revenue to come in.
Yeah, more TV games. That's right.
Yeah, but it's kind of a weird deal. Speaking of things that I don't know how they're going to get done, Chip Kelly, who was almost Florida's coach for a while there, but he after his bowl game, I talked about this earlier, but he was talking about how we need a commissioner, we need to go to one 64-team league, and I'm like, my reaction to it was, yeah, we've all been saying that. That would be great, but how do you do that? I mean, does everybody secede from the NCAA? I don't know how that all gets done, and whether a commission – look, the first time the commissioner rules against Alabama, it's not going to go well, or against another blue blood. So I don't know that that's the answer to college. I don't know what the answers are to college football right now, to the problems that they're dealing with.
Yeah, there are some problems, and it's basically play for pay, as we know now.
Yep.
The players, I understand the Georgia quarterback – he's holding out for more money. Carson Beck, I think, come back. His agent does all the negotiating. But, even pro football, which we know is play for pay, they have a salary cap. And there's different ways they go about it. But at least there's a cap, and they try to fit everybody on the team in that. And I don't know if the colleges, if the NFL can do it, why can't the colleges say, all right, here's our cap. You can pay the guys, I don't know, $5-10 million or whatever they come up with, and keep it all. If you want to give the quarterback all of it, but that's proved that doesn't work. One or two guys getting all the money creates, I think, a little friction in college ball.
Yep.
Seems like Texas A&M and Miami and Southern Cal are 3 of the schools that have been giving a lot of money out that have not been winning big. So. Nobody knows the answer, but there should be some kind of rule, some kind of cap on it, I would think, pretty soon.
I don't know where the answer is going to come from, though. because the NCAA seems like they're just kind of whatever. And Congress has got other things to worry about. They got 2 wars to deal with.
That's exactly right.
And other stuff to deal with. But, you know, it's funny because signing day is Wednesday, and it's different signing day. It's the early signing day than what you had to go through. But I was wondering if you had a great story about somebody who flipped one way or the other that you went, oh, I can't believe that, or I can't believe he did that. Good for him. I mean, did you have a lot of flips on signing day?
Well, the guys used to wait, you know.
Yeah,
and
they did.
I'm going to announce on signing day because they got a lot more attention. And,
Yeah.
you know, they bring all their hats, you know, which one's he going to pull. Most of the guys would tell us that they're coming before they did that, but every now and then a few didn't. But I don't know. We obviously tried to recruit as hard as we could, but when that day was over, you know, it was over, and we got whatever we got and lost whatever we'd lost, and then you move on. That's what we tried to do here.
Well, it's pretty amazing when you think about it. You had, I think, 2 number 1 classes, right?
I think we did. 91, Danny Warfel and Donnie Young and all those guys. And, you know, we redshirted.
Almost every,
out
including
of those
Danny.
25, I bet we redshirted, 17 or 18, probably. And then we tried to redshirt Jason Odom, but I had to pull him off and say, you're the start left tackle here after we lost at Mississippi State that year. So anyway, we had to play some true freshmen occasionally.
Yeah, and then I think the Brock Berlin class was number 1 too.
Yeah,
right?
99. 99 class was number 1. Yeah, that was a good class.
So what was your technique for getting those classes, though? Was it just that you guys were – and this goes back to why I think Florida is struggled sometimes with some of these commitments, and we've had some guys flip the other way, is because you go 5-7. You were never going 5-7. You were going your bad years were like 9-2. So
well, we just emphasized opportunity to play, opportunity to graduate. We had an excellent track record for our guys graduating. Winning, of course. They want to play on winners. They want to play pro football. So just feel like you can achieve all of that at the University of Florida. And we had obviously, we're fortunate to start winning right away. The players were here, that there was no rebuild or anything like that. So we had a pretty good product, and you guarantee them all, if you're better than the guy in front of you, you will beat him out and have a chance to play. So, and the current players on the team knew that.
Yeah,
so
they did.
Coach gave me a chance to be the guy out, so if I don't improve as I go, one of these freshmen might come in and beat me out. So it was always a competition for playing time.
Absolutely. And that we saw it happen all the time. There was a lot going on this weekend, a lot of sports, I don't know how many bowl games you watched. I only watched a little bit of them. I didn't watch a ton.
No, these are not.
I watched more basketball than I did football.
I'll tell you, the Texas women's volleyball team won the national championship yesterday. I don't know if that's an omen for their football team, but we'll wait and see. But those games coming up, New Year's Eve, I think, or so.
New Year's Day.
Or so forth. They're going to be fun to watch because they're 4 really good teams. Whoever plays the best is going to be the winner.
Yeah, how do you feel about those games with Alabama and Michigan? Alabama and Michigan is one that's hard to pick. A lot of people are jumping on Alabama, and I'm like, Michigan didn't get there by accident. You know?
Yeah, Michigan is a big, strong team, but they beat Ohio State. Who else they beat?
Penn State.
Yeah.
They don't play any offense.
So they're a big, strong team, though. But Alabama, I think, matches up with them. I would pick Alabama if I was picking, probably.
Yeah, and then obviously the Texas and Washington. As much as I liked watching Washington and I liked watching Michael Penix, I had him second on my Heisman ballot. I just don't think they won a lot of close games, and there's an art to that. But I don't know that they're going to be able to win. That game, against a team that's just has so much talent. The talent level's ridiculous there because they have used the NIL very well.
Oh yeah, they pay for play, definitely. But I tell you one thing. Somebody asked me the other day what's encouraging about the Gators next year, and even though our schedule Well, everybody's got a tough schedule.
Everybody does, yeah.
But we got 7 home games.
I know.
And a lot of them early, so maybe we can build some momentum and go from there. And one in Jacksonville. So we're pretty good at home, and hopefully we can take that and run with it and go from there.
I think you hit it around the head. I've tried to tell people the schedule is tough, but everybody's got a tough one.
That's right.
And it's not as tough early. It's really tough in November, but who knows I think Florida's playing 7 new quarterbacks this year too. I mean, they're playing against 7 new quarterbacks, and like you said, 7 home games, only 4 true road games. There's a chance to do something special with it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to ask you what you think Billy Napier needs to do, but obviously they've got to show some improvement, and we'll see how it goes. But it's going to be interesting this year, and having 7 home games, I guarantee you there'll be 5 sellouts again because
good teams
they're going to be there
in.
for Miami. They're going to probably UCF. They're going to be there for obviously with LSU.
Yeah,
and
Samford's the only one of the 12 teams that will be a double-digit favorite.
Or favorite at all.
No, there'll be close numbers, I think, on all the other games probably.
Yeah. I did want to – did you have anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, I think that's about it. Signing day Wednesday, and hopefully we can maintain. I heard we were number 4. Is that correct now? 4 or 5?
Yeah, they did some good work on the portal already, but you never know. I mean, again, I know you didn't look at those rankings when you were the coach. You didn't go, are we 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5?
Well, we wanted to be in the top 10 all the time, which I think we were 7 and 8 average, but a couple of number 1s and maybe a 3 or 4. But the only problem was FSU we played them every year, and they were right in there as the other schools were. But yeah, it's important, but it isn't everything. Recruiting, that's for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you too about the fact that Florida's not playing a bowl game this year, and you had to deal with that once in 1990. And how hard was that? I mean, after your guys knew they weren't going to a bowl from week 4?
That was our penalty for something that had happened about 6 years earlier. So we knew we weren't going to a bowl.
Yeah. So did it change the way you did anything after that? I mean, could you recruit more, or did you just play golf a lot?
No, we just getting ready for recruiting instead of getting ready for a bowl game. Yeah, it helps to be able to practice a little bit.
I was going to ask you that. How much does that help you?
We always emphasize the bowl game because it goes on your record, and at the end of the year they vote on who's in the top 10 or top 25 in the country. And one of our goals every year was try to finish in the top 10 in the nation. So if you lost the bowl game, that would hurt your chances of being in the top 10. And fortunately, we were in the top 10 in the country 10 out of 12 years. So, all right, we're in the top 10. That's not all that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, fans are now realizing
yes,
that's pretty good. And the other 2 years, we were 13 and 15, I think. So it wasn't like we were out of sight. But to me, you need goals to take you all the way through the year. Instead of, we can't win the SEC this year and we got to play in the bowl game. No, we get to play in the bowl game to try to finish in the top 10 in the country.
Right.
That's the way we tried to look at it.
Absolutely. I wanted to take you back to the Heisman night one more time, and that is being on stage with those guys. And you look around, you see all the. I mean, you're one of the great players. We know that. But you look around, you see all these other great players, and I know you're up there with Danny and everything. And it's got to be a cool thing to be able to go back there every year and be part of that whole Heisman
Yeah,
fraternity.
I think so.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things. I figured out I've been going back 46 years since my NFL days were over. So our first year was 77. I think Campbell from Texas actually won it that year, 77, 78, Billy Sims. And
he was there.
Yeah, he comes back. And in fact, Mike Garrett from Southern Cal, he won in 65. I was 66. Gary B-Man was 67. So both sides of the guys, we had 3 years in a row there that came back. So it was,
cool.
a good bunch of guys. See them for 2 or 3 days and sort of have fun and so forth.
Where do they do that now?
New York.
But I mean, it's not at the didn't the downtown athletic club have to close because of 9/11?
Marriott Marquis is where they have
yeah.
most everything now. So that's where they have the black tie event. And the announcement was at a theater. We had to take a bus.
Nokia Theater, yeah, I've been there. Yeah,
about 6-8 blocks away. There were more people in New York City than. I mean, the sidewalks are just throngs of people. You just barely creep along in your, little bus type travel attire and so forth. But it was a mob of people there.
Yeah, I know when we went for Tebow, Robbie, I would just grab the back of Robbie's shirt and just let him guide me along because I would be banging off people otherwise. Because it's a different world up there, obviously. All right, Coach, it's great to have you back.
Good to be back on the Dooley podcast. Yeah. And I hope to be here next week.
No show next week because it's Christmas.
Yeah, that's right, it's Christmas. Isn't it? Yeah.
So we'll come get you the following Monday.
Yeah, we got a New Year's Eve event here at the restaurant, and then.
I wanted to ask you
Christmas
about that.
Eve, Christmas Eve, I plan on being here, I think, with some of my family. So,
really? Yeah.
So anyway, Merry Christmas to everybody out there, and go Gators in 2024. 24 is the next year.
Who'd have thought we'd live this long to be to 2024?
We got a lot more Gator games to watch.
Yep, absolutely, and they'll be fun. All right, we'll be back with more. On another Dooley Noted podcast, brought to you by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Again, Meldon Law sponsoring Coach. We appreciate them, and we appreciate him being in here. We'll be back with more. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer to Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept. Being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. to go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444. Okay, and welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. And now we haven't talked to Robbie in a long time. We've had a couple of different people on for Yes, No Way, or Maybe. But here he is. All right, he is coming to us on our Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line, which we appreciate Big Mills Cheesesteak. And, of course, they sponsor Yes, No Way, or Maybe. And I've got some good questions for you today, Robbie. Are you ready for them? Okay. All right. Robbie, yes, no way, or maybe for you. We have 3 questions for you, as always. Number 1, Billy Napier, a year from today, will be the coach at Florida.
I'm going to say maybe, Pat. I mean, he's already on the hot seat, whether he is or not among, the people over at UF. But, he's going to start the season on the hot seat. They've got a terribly tough, difficult schedule, and it's going to hard to win 7 or 8 games. And I think he needs to do that, or he's going to be in jeopardy. And so I think maybe he will be gone a year from now.
Yeah, what do you think? I have heard people talk about this, how many games he needs to win. I go, people just need to know it's going forward. And I mean, 7, it could be 8, it could be 6 and 6 that you think with that schedule is still Florida's getting better. So I don't want to put a number on how many games he has to win.
Yeah. What you need to see is progress, Pat.
Yep.
And I think we did see progress this year in certain aspects of the game, but not on defense.
Just got to get more of them, yeah. Let's get to number 2 on yes, nowhere, maybe. You are satisfied with my third place vote of Jordan Travis for the Heisman.
Pat, I'm okay with that. Third place, that's fine. I mean, if he hadn't gotten hurt, he would have definitely been in that spot. So he was one of the best players in college football. There's no question about it. It was unfortunate that he got hurt, but I've got no problem with you voting him third.
Well, and the big reason I voted him third was because the college football playoff committee told me he was the most important player in college football, right? He's hurt. They're out with
no
13.
Question they did, Pat. So he did. Yeah.
All right.
You did the right thing, Pat. I think it's fine.
And number 3, I know you're over there in the American League. You're worried about Shohei Ohtani being with the Yankees.
Am I worried about that?
Yeah.
No way. He ain't going to be with the Yankees, Pat.
No, he is. Well, he's with other teams. You know, I mean, wherever he went, it doesn't matter. I screwed that up, so I need to start that over too.
That's fine. Yeah, he's on the Dodgers.
What did you do?
Why did I say the Yankees?
I don't know. He's with the Dodgers, you dummy.
All right, let's do number 3 again. You've got some editing work here. Really bad, yeah.
No question. Sorry.
All right, here we go. Okay, Robbie, number 3. You're happy that Shohei Ohtani is out of the American League being a Twins fan like you are.
Yeah, sure, I'm happy, Pat, even though, he wasn't playing on a very good team. But, yeah, it's always good to have a superstar that can beat your team going to the other league and maybe beating your team now. So, yeah, I'm fine with him being over there with the Dodgers. I think it's good. Not good for you, though, probably.
I'm not happy with him being with the Dodgers. I wish he'd gone to, like, the Yankees or somewhere or the Mets where they screw up good players. So,
yeah.
All right,
with
Robbie.
the guy has
a
good team. He's the best player in baseball. So
I will let you get back to scouring the transfer portal for players, okay?
Okay, Pat. I'll see you soon.
All right, appreciate it.
See ya.
Robbie Andrew on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe, and Again. We only went audio with him because we had some problems with his connection. All right, always great to get Robbie back on, and of course he'd missed a couple of weeks too. He was in the mountains for a while, and then we had other people going on. Hey, we love it when we have our Mondays with Coach Spurrier and Robbie Andrew, even when his computer's not working right. But one thing we also love is our Campus USA Play of the Weekend. And this time we delved all the way into the NFL. Oh, just a typical Hail Mary pass from the Bears. Oh, what? Wait a minute. Who caught it? If you watch this game live, it was, and Coach Spurrier and I were talking about it before he left. Unbelievable that the guy had the ball, Mooney, right? Had the ball in his stomach. If he catches it, it's a Hail Mary. They win the game. Instead, it bounces out. Sometimes those things happen, and you have to live with them the rest of your life. There were a lot of Hail Marys, though. You know, it's funny. The NFL was exciting this weekend. There were some amazing games. But I always tell myself, the only thing that really matters is the playoffs, especially because my team, my fantasy team, and I'm not a big fantasy guy. I'm allowed to talk about it for 10 seconds, though. That's a rule. For sure. Okay, 10 seconds. Okay, here we go. Dak Prescott scored 40 points for me in one game this year. He scored 6 yesterday. That's why I am going to hate the Cowboys all through the playoffs, because I still have a chance tonight, but I'm probably not going to win my playoff game. That's all I'm going to say. 10 seconds is all you're allowed. All right, let's get to our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the weekend. And I had a couple of candidates and some really good candidates. I almost put Eddie Pinheiro in there. kicking 3 field goals in a monsoon, but all the field goals were like 20 yards. So I was going to put them in there, but I thought about it. And I said, you know what I should do? The graduates, the people that graduated from the University of Florida this weekend, who the athletes, but everybody who graduated, but especially the athletes. And I think this is one of the lost stories of the transfer portal. And that is this. You're at whatever, and I'm not going to degrade any school, East Bohunk State, whatever you could be, and you become a pretty good player here at Division III or whatever, or Division or FBS or FCS, and you go to a school like the University of Florida for your senior year and you get your degree. For example, Ricky Pearsall, who went to Arizona State. That degree is worth nothing. I can tell you that much. Arizona State, I make fun of them all the time. I had somebody work with me that was from Arizona State, and I go, I'm going to give you some simple 1 + 1 math questions. I mean, but now he's got a degree from Florida. And that's the story that doesn't get told about the portal, is sometimes these guys are able to go to places and they play and they do well and they have great success stories. Sometimes they don't, but they get their degree from a better school. Florida's top 5 in the country, public universities. That's a story that doesn't get told a lot. All you guys that graduated, including Ricky Pearsall, including Alex Klatsky, all of you athletes, but everybody who graduated, congratulations. You are our Adams Ribco to Go Gators of the weekend, and we appreciate you. Let's get to our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. We'll get some qualifiers in. We're going to give you the Thursday game, okay? It's a bowl game, I know. I don't even know what bowl it is. I'm going to get Zach to look this up for me. South Florida is playing Syracuse, the team we just were talking about. And South Florida is not great, but they're in a bowl game. Now, if Florida played South Florida's schedule, they would have probably gone 8-4.
That is the Boca Raton Bowl.
Boca Raton Bowl. So they're playing at FAU's stadium, which isn't a bad stadium. So you get that game, Thursday night game. Syracuse is favored by 3. That is your best way to qualify. Give me a USF or give me Syracuse. I would prefer you give me nothing, but we'll give you that chance to qualify. I had Andy call me or texted me and email me. I'll get to it eventually, and I will get him. I already heard from our winner from last time, and he'd won about a month ago, but I'm going to get him his stuff as well. $25 at Leonardo's at Millhopper, which is a pretty good deal right there, plus a copy of my book. I think he already has a copy of my book, so maybe I'll give him a hat, Bob Dooley hat. All right, that is our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. Let's get to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. In fact, Ken and Jennifer were here at Spurs just on, was it Saturday or Sunday? Saturday. And they were bragging about the short rib, what do they call it? Concertas? I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, they got a great short rib dish, and it's great. And then they went to see Wonka, which I haven't seen and probably won't. I don't know that I saw the second Wonka. The first one with Gene Wonka. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Although tonight I think my wife and I are watching Barbie because it's on HBO now, so we're going to watch that. It looked pretty good, actually. Where was I? Oh, Hesser and Kipke. Anyway, we were texting back and forth. Ken's a good bud. Let's get to 3 things, Hesser and Kipke. Number 1, Coach Spurrier mentioned it, but I did want to bring it up. Texas winning the national championship in volleyball down at Amalie. Is it called Amalie or Amalie? Arena down in Tampa. And this was the year, I thought Florida was good enough to win it all this year until they had the injuries, especially the one that was just devastating. And it would be great because they would be and we were going to go. I mean, our plan was, hey, we're going to Tampa to watch the national championship in volleyball. And I will maybe it's a good thing we didn't have to go because they had 17,727. They sold it out for that, and that's good for Tampa, and that'll mean it'll be back there again. But here's the thing that I think a lot of us are looking at is that, okay, so you got Oklahoma coming in the league, and they're unbeatable in softball. You got Texas coming in the league. They've won 2 straight volleyball championships. Yay! Go Gators! It's going to be rough, man. This league is I know it's getting better in football, and I know it's getting better financially, and I know it's getting better, but it is going to get so much better in everything, and that includes baseball. We saw that Oklahoma team that came in here in baseball for regionals. We know Texas has been good. We know how good they are in basketball. They're good in everything, and that's part of the problem. My phone is ringing, and I assume it's my daughter because she always calls during the podcast, but I will no, it's not. Okay. It's potential spam. Do we want to bring them on and have them? Yeah, we could. I thought about it and tell them how they're trying to sell my book, but they need me to send them money first. I get 2 of those every day. And the last one they called and I go, "Quit calling me," and she's hung up. So anyway, all right. Let's get back to Hesser and Kipke's 3 things. Texas, by the way, they won it in 3 against Nebraska, and Nebraska's really good, but they're kind of a home team kind of team. Anyway, that was that. All right, number 2 on Hesser and Kipke's 3 things. I don't know if you guys saw this. Jerry Kill is the coach at New Mexico State, team that beat the crap out of Auburn this year. It's a miracle that he's still coaching. I didn't even know he was coaching till late in the year. I mean, he's had multiple seizures on the field, on the sideline. He's had really a lot of problems, but I guess he's straightened them out. That's not the story, though. The story is that apparently they had to practice at a bad high school field or something, and he got mad. He's really mad, and the AD from New Mexico is the one who made it happen. And the AD, he's mad. He called them chicken-s and everything. And then I was like, who's the AD at New Mexico? Oh, it's Eddie Nunez. Eddie Nunez, who used to play at Florida, played basketball at Florida for Billy Donovan, was a grad assistant for Florida, went into administration. I used to see him all the time at LSU games because he was at LSU for a long time. And really like it. We'd always have great conversations. So I can't be on your side, Jerry Kill, against Eddie Nunez. I'm sorry. It's just, he's a good dude. But that's the thing with bowls, is all bowls aren't created equal. I've been to a lot of them. Believe me, they're not all created equal. There's a bowl where you get everything. You get all your food, everything, all these great things to give to your family, Bluetooth speakers, iPods, everything. And there's a bowl where you get sunglasses. And you're staying in a crappy hotel, and there's no media. So I'm not a big fan. I'm not as big a fan of the bowl system as I used to be. And I'm curious where it's going to go when we get to the 12-team playoff. What's the 13th game? What bowl is that? Can't wait to see it. All right, and finally, number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. I don't know how many of you know this, but Steph Curry's streak ended last night. 268 straight games with a 3. Went 0 for 8. They still won the game. And that's a good sign. I like the Warriors a lot because I love Steph Curry. He's my favorite player in the NBA. So I pull for the Warriors. I have a Warriors t-shirt and everything. And they didn't even beat FSU. You usually have to beat FSU for me to get your t-shirt. But or Kentucky in basketball. But Steph Curry's streak is over at 268 straight games, making a 3. I don't know if I can go, if I've had 268 straight days in the gym where I made a 3. You know, I don't think that happened. So anyway, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let's get to our swamp games of the week. And we'll give you the games of the week. And, of course, we'll give you the games of the weekend on Thursday. And there's a lot of good ones there as well. A lot of sports on TV. It's killing me, but I will force myself to watch it all. But here's what we have going on. Now, the bowl games aren't great this week. I'll tell you that. Tuesday, Texas San Antonio against Marshall. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I don't blame you, but it's on at ESPN at 9 o'clock if you want to watch it. It's a bowl game. But what you'll be watching is Florida playing against Michigan on ESPN that same night. I guess that's after, or I guess that's before. So it's the Florida-Michigan game leading into the bowl game. Again, don't know what the name of the bowl is. That's my goal, is not to know the names of any bowl. We were watching that game they played in Orlando, the Cure Bowl, and I'm like, it's pouring down rain. These guys, I'm like, where is this? Where in the world are they playing this game? And I go, oh, they're playing it right there. They're playing it like, an hour away from us, and we're getting a storm too. We were in Daytona at the time, so that's your Tuesday game. Texas San Antonio at Marshall. Zach, you ready for that?
I am so ready.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're ready for it. All right. And then, of course, Florida-Michigan basketball on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Also Tuesday night, Virginia at Memphis is at 7 o'clock on ESPN2. Good game there to watch. Thursday, your NFL game, the Saints at the Rams, 8:15 Prime Video. I don't highly recommend it, but that's what we have going on. Wednesday is a good night to sit in front of your TV and be a basketball guy. Now, not all of you are, and I get that, but you've got, in order, Baylor at Duke, North Carolina at Oklahoma, Alabama at Arizona, which is probably not going to be number one anymore, but they were number one. So those games are at 7, 9, and 11, which means they're at 7, 9:15, and 11:30. That's when they'll start. But those are our Swamp Restaurant games of the week. And we'll give you the games of the weekend on Thursday. And, of course, you can go there and watch all these games, all the great – there is so much sports to watch right now. This is a great time of the year. It's the most wonderful time of the year, because it's not just the bowl games. And a lot of them, I know you don't want to watch some of these bowl games. I get it. There's so much basketball on. There's a lot going on. I'm going to watch a lot of it. And of course, we got NFL playoffs are not that far away. That's going to do it for our Swamp Games of the weekend. Of course, they have great specials there as well, especially the sangria on Saturday and all the other stuff they do. All right, let's finally wrap it up with Pat Dooley's Storytime, brought to you by Eastlake Pediatrics. We appreciate Mike Jordan and our friends down there. And this story came up during a conversation I had with somebody, and they were asking me we were talking about Colorado. And I was like, one of my favorite trips ever was to Denver, because I was there for the Olympic Festival. Now, what's the Olympic Festival, you ask? The Olympic Festival is something where they have all these people that are potential Olympians come and compete in different sports. And because the Olympics were in Atlanta, but they also put down this rule. They said, if you don't cover this, you can't cover the Olympics. Well, the newspaper really wanted me at the Olympics, and they should have. Well, they did put me in danger, I guess. But so I went to the Olympic Festival for like a week and took Karen out there. We were dating at the time, and it was a blast, because there was just getting to know that part of the country, but also that was where I first met Brad Wilkerson. He was playing for a team. I go, hey, I'm going to go to the Air Force Academy, which is beautiful. You cannot believe how beautiful that campus is. I'm going to go there. There's a baseball game. Brad Wilkerson's playing for the East or the North or whatever, and I'm gonna go interview him, and that's where our friendship started. They had tons of Gator volleyball players playing out there. There was tennis players. It worked out great for me. But the best thing about it is later I found out that my wife, became my wife, said, that's the week I fell in love with you. Karen, I fell in love with you a long time before that. But you fell in love with me, and you are still with me, and I appreciate you. That is going to do it on a very solemn note. Oh, everybody's crying. No, nobody's crying. That's going to do it. We may have gone a little long here. We'll just let Zach trim it up. But there's a lot of, we put a lot of stuff on tape for him to deal with. And we'll be back on Thursday with another duly noted podcast. Again, Drew Copeland will join us. We'll do our picks we'll do the all the SEC bowl games and the playoffs. And that, I think it's 11 total. I think we threw maybe Miami and UCF in there. So we'll do our picks, and then we'll see who wins. I think I won 2 in a row. Anyway, that's going to do it for the show today. Appreciate all of you for listening or for watching. And I do know that a lot of you, with the holidays, don't have time to get to it. And I understand that, but we're trying to give you the best shows we can. I'll be back with another one Thursday. For Zach, I am Pat Dooley. Until next time, I am deep, I'm way back, and I am out of here.